If you're looking for some little indie games you can start and finish over the course of one weekend, I've got you covered. Here are 6 short games I've played recently that you might like too. Webbed is actually the longest game on this list, but it's also my favorite. Just look at how cute that little spider is. It'll probably take you about 5 to 6 hours to reach the end, but there are also some bonus collectibles to find that'll add a bit more time if you've got any to spare. But this is a quick video for busy people, so here's the rundown. Unfortunately, your boyfriend has been kidnapped by a bird, so it's up to you to recruit some buggy friends for the ultimate rescue mission. Swing and weave your way through the forest, catching flies, and maybe even doing a little skateboarding along the way. This web-slinging mechanic is a perfect balance of frustrating and satisfying, and I really like how you can use it to approach levels in your own way, either at breakneck speed with no care in the world, or more carefully by slowly building webs to cross gaps safely. After finishing Webbed, the only thought I was left with was, I wish there was more. So it's a good thing that S-Bug Games is in fact working on another bug game called Isopod. I love bugs in video games, I made a whole video dedicated to it, and I can't wait for this one. Next, we're getting a bit moodier with the Sirena Expedition. Explore the depths of a mysterious underwater facility as you solve simple platforming puzzles and try to figure out what's going on. This one is very short, about an hour to complete, with a few optional secrets to find that extend the time a bit. I really like the atmosphere and visuals here. It's not a horror game per se, more of a lonely, haunting experience. You move very slowly through the water, there's no rush here even though it is a short game. Just a tight little package with the music, underwater soundscape, and the clunky early 3D look that I love. There is a demo you can play on Steam that I made a video about a long time ago, and the game is coming to Switch next week I believe, if that's your preferred platform to play on. Speaking of platforms, how about a firefighting platformer? Nuclear Blaze is actually a pretty tough little game, though there are plenty of difficulty modifiers to tune difficulty to your liking. This one also sits around the 1 to 2 hour mark with very little downtime. You'll go from room to room, jumping, climbing, and putting out fires as you investigate an abandoned government facility that's on fire for some reason. You unlock a few upgrades as you progress, nothing too crazy, but this kept things moving along at a nice pace, and of course the pixel art is gorgeous. Plus there are a bunch of hidden cats throughout the levels for you to rescue. If you're particularly drawn to the game's style, then you might be happy to know that Deep Night Games is currently working on Tenjutsu, a martial arts roguelite about an ex-Yakuza member looking for revenge that looks fantastic. And for all you puzzle fans, Towerheart is a simple Sokoban game where you can swap positions with objects. Very simple premise indeed, but there's something so satisfying about this. No frills, no fluff, just you and a bunch of boxes. Basically what I'm saying is it's actually possible to beat this one, unlike, say, Baba Is You. That game did me so dirty. Might take you 2 hours, might take you 6, depending on your skill level, and the 80-ish levels that you play through aren't the end. Towerheart is in early access, which basically just means this is only the first half of the game. If you like what you see, then there's more to come. The game is surprisingly charming with its simple grayscale visuals, the whole traveling up through a tower in the middle of a wasteland, and a secret or two that are definitely worth discovering for yourself. While Towerheart will make you put on your thinking cap quite a bit, Donut County is maybe the opposite of that game. Silly, colorful, and kind of mindless in a good way, it's sort of a reverse Katamari game. Instead of rolling a giant ball around, you control an ever-growing hole that consumes anything that falls into it. But be warned, there are definitely some minor consequences to eating an entire town. This one was especially fun to get all the achievements for. Some levels have specific goals or items that you need to eat. Overall, a great time. I mean, all these games are short, so what you see is what you get, focusing on one main mechanic and playing around with it for a few hours. This mechanic in Donut County specifically is super fun, just go play it. And another silly one, Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip released in May, and I did put up a full video about it back then. It's a small open world game featuring driving, gliding, mini games, trash collecting, hat wearing, bug catching, and hitting people over the head with various different blunt objects. This game has the funniest dialogue I've ever read, simple as that. I've heard it described as a GTA-like, which I didn't realize was a term we're using, but it's actually pretty accurate. Do crimes, steal cars, bother people. Again, the gameplay here speaks for itself, as does the title. Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip. You play as Terry, you're small, and your goal is to launch your car into space. Those were some games I've played recently that can be completed in a sitting or two, because sometimes it's nice to actually finish a game and move on with your life. As always, I do want you to give me your recommendations so that I can get my wish list up to 1,000 titles, because 761 just isn't enough.